Welcome to the Rum Revival. My name's Arminder, and today I'm drinking a $1,500 rum. Now you might be asking yourself, why is this rum $1,500 and is it worth it? Well, I'll try my best to answer that first question, and for the second one, well, that's kind of between you and your bank account, but I'll see what I can do. But the most immediate question you might be asking is, wait, this is all you get for $1,500? And the answer to that is no, this is just a small sample of the rum that was sent to me by the very nice folks at Holmes Cay. They're the ones behind the $1,500 rum, what they call their Infinity. Now, if you're not familiar with them, Holmes Cay is an independent bottler that sources and sells rums from distilleries around the world. And what we have with the Infinity is a blend of a number of rums that have been aged together in a single cask. And boy oh boy, it is quite the blend, truly a one-of-a-kind, maybe once-in-a-lifetime kind of blend. But before we get into all that, let's quickly cover what you get for $1,500. So you get a 700 milliliter bottle of Holmes Cay Infinity that's 58% ABV. But you also get a box, a blue box, and when you open it up, it looks like this. And as you can see, it also comes with a small book. It's 52 pages and it covers in detail the various rums that make up the blend. So the blend itself is the work of Main Rum Company out in Liverpool, England. What they do is buy rum, mostly in casks, from distilleries around the world. They warehouse those casks, often for a very long time, and then sell those casks to companies like Holmes Cay, who will bottle up that cask and sell it to you and me. Now, Main Rum Company has sample bottles of their casks that they hold on to for quality management purposes. And what they did over time was take some of those sample bottles that they no longer needed and blended them together in an ex-rum cask. Now, the final sample was added to that cask in November of 2003. That blend of rums then sat in that cask for 20 years, and then Holmes Cay came around, bought and bottled up that cask for this release. Now, at a high level, this is a blend of rums from 7 different countries, and it breaks down like this. 74% of it is rums from Guyana, 15% from Jamaica, 5% from Guadeloupe, 3% from Trinidad, and then 1% Barbados, 1% Venezuela, and the final 1% from Brazil. Now that, in of itself, while interesting, isn't enough of a reason for the pricing. I think there are other aspects of this release that are playing a part in the pricing. There's the age of the rums in the blend that definitely plays a factor. The youngest rum in the blend is 20 years old, and the oldest are 47. And as the saying goes, time is money, and when it comes to the spirits world, when producers and companies like Main Rum Company are sitting on a cask, they're not making money on it, right? It's taking up real estate, so in a way, the cost of producing that rum is much more. That, plus a lot of drinkers value a spirit with a lot of age on it. Not all of us, but there are definitely a lot of folks that do. And then there's the distilleries involved in the blend. In total, there are 13 distilleries from those 7 countries. But what's particularly notable is that 5 of those distilleries are defunct, meaning they're no longer in operation or making rum. So what's the big deal about that? Well, there's now an element of rarity and scarcity that plays a factor. As the years go by, the remaining rum stock of these defunct distilleries, they dwindle, right? And at some point, there's not going to be a single drop left. So in many cases, these distilleries and their rums then take on a sort of mythic quality or reputation. They take on the weight of history of a specific time and place that's fleeting. So there's an element of valuing something that we can no longer have or barely have. So we might spend a lot of money to acquire it and taste it. Of course, this isn't true for everyone. Maybe not most of us, but all it takes is just a few people to value it and to be willing to spend a lot of money on it to get their hands on it. And by few, in this case, I just mean 100. See, there isn't an unlimited supply of this rum. We're only talking 1 cask, and in fact, Holmes Cay is releasing only 100 bottles. So, good luck trying to get your hands on a bottle, even if you could afford it. That being said, if $1,500 is outside of your budget, as I'm sure it is for most of us, there is a cheaper option. For $300, you can get a 200 milliliter bottle of the rum, but those bottles are extremely limited with only 54 in total. Now, at a high level, I think everything I've covered is a pretty decent encapsulation of the rum. I could go even deeper into all of the components, but honestly, there's a lot of them, and frankly, I don't think it really makes for good TV. Now, before I try this rum, I do want to make it clear again that I didn't pay for this. There's a good chance I wouldn't have bought this rum given its scarcity. So as you listen to me talk about what I think about this, that is in the back of your mind for ethical or whatever reasons. Every little drop, got to make sure it goes in there. Okay, I mean, it is expressive on the aroma. It's not shy, which is great. Obviously, as you could imagine, given all that aging, getting oak, simultaneously a mustiness, a nice kind of rich oakiness. There's baking spices, again, coming from that aging, right? I'm getting caramels. There is some dried fruit notes as well, figs and dates. There's a lushness, I guess. Maybe it's some dried fruits sitting on top of a little bit of like syrup, like a dark fruit syrups, leatherish notes, maybe even some tobacco. That's a nice aroma. Enough beating around the bush. Let's give it a taste. Cheers. Wow. Ooh. So my eyes are watering a little bit, not because I'm getting emotional about drinking this rum, but the first sip of alcohol in the day, and it kind of, at 58% ABV, kind of hit at an angle in my mouth and the tongue that I just kind of felt overwhelmed by just alcohol, which caused my eyes to water. Lots and lots of dried fruit, figs, dates, that transition into sweet oakiness, a little bit of vanilla, caramels. Underneath that, there is a tinge of that tropical fruit, not banana, not pineapple. A little more interesting, unique, kind of industrial lychee, electrified lychee. Nice finish, still lingering. But what I can say, kind of now having had 3 or 4 sips, so far none of them have felt like a chaotic, jumbled mess. It doesn't feel like there's rums from 7 different countries, 13 different distilleries. I imagine the folks at Maine Rum, when they were putting this blend together, that they did it with thoughtfulness and on purpose. At least it tastes like that was the case. One of the things I really love about the rum, lovely mouthfeel. Silky, coats the inside of your mouth. Then midway through, you get this little bit of leathery tobacco. You get a little bit of bitterness. You get baking spices. And then on the finish, this faint hint of that industrial medicinal note. It's just, I think, a really well balanced rum in terms of richer notes and drier, savory notes, I guess. I like it. I like it a lot. It's very, very tasty. That being said, did the heavens part and did I ascend to the next level of rum geekdom? No, of course not. Now, would I spend $1,500 on it? No, I don't think so. But that's because, one, I don't have like a spare $1,500 laying around to spend on rum. Now, if I did, would I then? Well, I think if I valued that scarcity of those old and rare rums, then maybe I would. But in general, personally, I don't actually. That's not what gets me excited about rum. But if you are someone that applies to, then I do think this is kind of right up your alley. There are people who value a taste of rarity, of history, and they have the money to afford this. And while this is really, really tasty, if it were just about the taste alone, there are tons and tons of comparable, delicious rums that are so much cheaper, right? In that case, don't feel like you're missing out. Seriously. But what this really is a one-of-a-kind thing, right? A true one-of-one. There will never be another blend like this that features those specific rare and old rums. Ultimately, that's what you're paying for, right? That. Now, some of you, I don't know, might be upset or worried that the high price of this is a harbinger of things to come in the rum world, that everything is going to get pricey like bourbon or whatever. And look, don't let me get in the way of you being upset. Like, do you? That's cool. But I really think this is more of an exception, a rare case that this is really expensive, but I don't think it's indicative of like a whole category of rum getting way too pricey. And yeah, as more people realize how awesome rum is, prices will go up. I mean, that's just going to be a thing that happens as more people get into it. But this, I think, is just too niche of a release to be a product or cause of that. I think. I could be wrong. What do I know? Okay, that is my take and tasting of the Holmes Cay Infinity. This is definitely the most expensive rum that I've ever had. And I'm curious, what's the most expensive rum that you've ever had? And did you think it was worth it? Let me know by leaving a comment down below. And if you'd like to see more of these kind of first reaction videos where I try a rum for the very first time and give you my gut reaction to it, then check out my Patreon page. I have tons of videos where I do exactly that. That's it for me. Thanks so much for watching. Catch y'all next time. Cheers. I went down the wrong pipe. Whew.